Hi, everyone. Welcome to Introduction to NEXIS. We'll be talking about what is NEXIS, ways that your organization can get involved with NEXIS, and then getting started with a few tasks in NEXIS. If you're looking to track your program, your non-NextUp programs in the NEXIS data system. So what are we going to be looking at? We're going to talk a little bit about what is NEXIS and how your organization can take advantage of NEXIS in different ways. Then we'll go over a few things that you need to know to get started. So setting up user accounts, as well as updating your organization profile. And then for the bulk of this, we will be going over program tracking in NEXIS. So if your organization is looking to use NEXIS to track your non-NextUp program data, we will look at how to create those activities, how to create youth participants, how to enroll those students, and how to use NEXIS to take attendance for those programs. And lastly, we'll be sharing some additional support and office hours that you can set up with myself, Sarah Ramirez, Program Services Coordinator, and that information will be shared at the end. So first, what exactly is NEXIS? So for NextUp, NEXIS is a data system. Some organizations who've worked with us for a few years now may be familiar with the data system that NextUp uses called Youth Services. NEXIS is a system that allows providers to access the information that we've been tracking in Youth Services. It is created and managed by the same data management company that we've been working with, CitySpan. And it allows program providers in our network, RPS Extended Day, anchor organizations, and other data partners to both input data into the system as well as access it for yourselves. So there is information on student demographics, family information, program and enrollment attendance, as well as some integrated data with Aspen, with RPS Aspen. So program providers soon will be able to see aggregate reporting on the students that you're serving through NextUp that is tied to Aspen. So a student's aggregate daytime attendance, performance, and also you'll be able to access some customizable reports in the NEXIS data system. So how can your organization or organizations take advantage of NEXIS? There are really three ways that you can access NEXIS, and you can do a combination of all three. You can pick and choose, but the first would be to use NEXIS to access your NextUp program data. So NEXIS will house data from as far back as 2016. So that data has always been accessible to providers, and usually what that looks like would just be sending myself or Candice, our Director of Continuous Improvement, an email request for some data. So that would just be an email asking for whatever information it is that you're looking for. And then on our end, we would pull that report for you and send it back. But through NEXIS, you can skip that request part and just access the data or the report yourself. Secondly, you can use NEXIS to include your non-NextUp programs in NextUp's program locator tool. So the locator tool is actually a separate tool outside of NEXIS. It'll be housed on the NextUp website. And it's a public search tool that students, families, community members can use to search the available enrichment opportunities in the Richmond area. So through NEXIS, the program information would be entered in there, and it will feed to that tool so that the community can see it, access it, learn more about the opportunities that you as organizations are offering. And lastly, you can use NEXIS to track your non-NextUp program data. So we know that some organizations have data systems already. Some organizations don't, but this is an additional feature of NEXIS that if you're interested in using the system to track your students, your programs, your schedules, your instructors. All of that information can be tracked in NEXIS. So again, you can use NEXIS to its full advantage. You can use all three of these options. But if you only wanted to, access your program data, that would be fine as well. If you only wanted to use NEXIS to include your non-NextUp programs in the Locator tool, that's fine as well. So just to talk a little bit more about what each of these features means. If you're looking to access your NextUp program data, you can pull that data directly. Each data point that NextUp has collected over the past couple years will be included, and there will be some automated reports in the system already that will just require a few parameters, and you'll be able to download Excel files. In terms of the Locator tool, again, this is a separate tool, so it will be on the NextUp website. It will populate the results in that public feature for the community to access. And the including programs in the Locator is optional. So you might have some programs that you want to include and others that you don't, and you do have that control. Tracking your non-NextUp program data. So if you're looking for a new data system, if you're looking to try out some new tracking features, NEXIS will allow you to create youth profiles, create program schedules, take attendance, pull data reports, and a lot more. So as we get started with NEXIS, there are a few setups that we would need beforehand. The first would be about user accounts. So user accounts are created by the program services team, by myself or Candace, and organizations can request accounts to be made, and there is no limit to the amount of accounts that you can create for your organization. There are two types of user accounts. So the first would be an organization user. And an organization user can see all of the data for all of the programs in your NEXIS account. So an organization user, you can think about them as your executive directors, as your program managers, those staff who would need to have their eyes on what's going on at multiple sites. The second user type is a site user, and a site user can only see the data for the sites that they're assigned to see. So a site user might be somebody who's an instructor, who you might have programs at 3 or 4 sites, but your instructors may only work at 1 or 2 of them. So that instructor would only need to see and manipulate the data that they are assigned to. If you have any questions about setting up user accounts or who in your organization should have what designation, you can just reach out and I'll be happy to help you with that. Second would be updating your organization profile. So the organization profile is a function in the program Locator, or it's data that's viewable in the program Locator, I should say. So when somebody searches the program Locator, they might see that your organization is offering something that they're interested in or something that their student is interested in. And the organization profile is the quick summary of information that the public will see on your organization. So you'll be able to input a website, you'll be able to include the mission of your organization, as well as some contact information on who should be contacted if there's a student who wants to register. And all of that information is housed in NEXIS. So once you go in and you update the information that you'd like to include, then you'll just hit save and that will populate into the program Locator. Great. So For the next part of this, we're going to be talking about program tracking in NEXIS. So that would be that third option of the ways that you can access NEXIS if you're looking for. So what does program tracking mean, and what is the process in NEXIS? To track a program, we recommend starting with first creating your schedule and activity. So in NEXIS, you'll be able to input your program name, the schedule from the start and end date, the days of the week, and the time that the program meets. You'll then be able to create your youth participants. So that would be enrolling students, creating students that have expressed interest in your program. To create a youth participant, a first name, last name, and date of birth are required. And that is to help avoid any duplicates in the system. So the system will match every youth participant by birth date. So that's like the unique indicator so that the system can always recognize that student and avoid you having to create a student over and over again. You can also track demographic information as well as contact information for students and their family. Once you've created your youth participants, you will enroll them in those activities that you created. And then lastly, you'll be able to track attendance. So marking students present, absent, making any notes related to their attendance. So now we'll go ahead and take a look at the data system itself.